Hello again. I have never been opposed to all immigration to Britain, and indeed I've spoken about the benefits that people, for example, like the Gujarati Hindus, have brought to the country, among other minorities. The key word here is minorities. As long as immigration was regulated and controlled in such a way as to ensure that immigrants remained a minority in any given district, then things seemed to work out fine. I remember this state of affairs. People rubbed along and tolerated immigration under those circumstances. The problems arose when the minority became a majority, for example in northern towns like Huddersfield and in London boroughs such as Tower Hamlets. This created resentment. This has become more widespread as an increasing number of districts find themselves in the position of having a minority of white British residents. Nobody wishes to feel they are squeezed out of their own street, and many people would rather have neighbours who shared with them a common language and cultural inheritance. So although I'm not opposed to immigration as such, it has reached such enormous numbers now with such detrimental effects that I feel we should call a halt for a while as we take stock of the situation and try to decide what to do next. I was musing on this subject today as I walked around the old city of Jerusalem. Israel is far more diverse than Britain and made up largely of immigrants from around the world. Apart from those whose families came here from Europe early in the 20th century and after the end of the Second World War, more than half the population consists of people whose families were originally from Arab countries like Morocco, Tunisia, Syria, Egypt and Yemen. Many of these people have been driven out as refugees from their own countries in the late 1940s. They spoke Arabic. They had more in common with the Arabs living in Israel than they did with the Ashkenazim who ruled the country. Apart from these immigrants, there have been waves from countries such as Ethiopia. In the 1980s and 1990s, Israel organised rescue missions and they brought something like 70,000 black people to Israel to live in the country, saving them from the war there. Today, you see many black members of the Israeli army. These are from Ethiopian families. The thumbnail to this video shows exactly the kind of image that nobody ever sees from Israel. It shows one of the planes which Israel sent to Africa to rescue all those folk. As you can see, it's crammed with black Africans who were welcomed to the country. A similar thing is now happening with Indians who are being welcomed here. There can be few more multi-ethnic and multiracial countries in the world than Israel. I mean, there's all the black Americans down in Dimona, the so-called black Hebrews who turned up uninvited in the 1970s, and they've been allowed to stay here, given homes. Here is the important point, though, and where Britain could learn a thing or two. Immigration is tightly controlled, and always the overall demographic status is borne in mind. There will never be any question of unrestricted admission for all who ask for it, as happens today with Britain. Foreign workers from countries like Thailand are admitted, given limited visas, and know that they must leave when their visas expire. This is what happened to me the better part of 50 years ago. The idea that I could just stay on without a visa was absolutely absurd. I would have been turfed out of the country. Quite right too. Israel ensures that the character of the nation as a Jewish country is maintained and makes no apology for it. Neighbouring countries do the same, of course. You'll hear foolish people talk about the apartheid state of Israel and all the rest of it. But of course, all the countries in the Middle East are particular about their ethnicity and religion and so on. That's why you have the Arab Republic of Egypt, its official title, and the Syrian Arab Republic, Syria's official title, and the Islamic Republic of Iran, and so on. All the countries around here define themselves in ethnic and religious terms and ruthlessly ensure that they remain as they wish. I would like to see Britain define itself in a similar way and maintain its cultural integrity, but I can't see that happening anytime soon.